Good.
Hello, what's good, everyone? My name's Sai here over here at Against the Fence. I'm being joined today by Odin over at MMA Anomaly. What's up, Odin? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Keeping well, and what an event we've had, man. What an event we've had. UFC 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski, and honestly, man, that was a better fight than what Oliveira Makhachev brought to the table, and blew my hair off. You know, like I was bored as Volkanovski by the end of it. You know what I mean?
Literally, like my fiance thought she was gonna puke whenever they were about to read the freaking the scorecards off. Like throughout the whole event, I think maybe I breathed like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like I swear, the intensity for that main event alone was just next level. Like you said, it was tenfold a better fight than Oliveira versus Makhachev. And man, I literally, I thought for sure whenever I was doing the parlay on my channel, my pick for the record was Islam via submission. And I was the guy that blew the freaking parlay. When we were locking it in, all 3 of us were like, well, I mean, that's the lock of the night.
I mean, what was really great, and I think JK said it really well as well in that fight, was the fact that, and they admitted it at the end sort of speech they did with Bisping. You know, Volkanovski underestimated the striking from Islam, and Islam underestimated the wrestling from Volkov, and that was just part of the magic of that. And you're right, because I was literally over here on the edge of my seat as well, half on Ash's lap, just like in an emotional ball of emotion. You know what I mean? I needed someone to hug me. I needed someone to rub my back to say it was going to be okay. I didn't know what was happening, and but what a fight! Oh my goodness, so good, so good. Was you this excited for it? Because coming into this, I know there was a lot of news about how it lacked its hype. You know, a lot of people were saying about how it wasn't promoted as much as it should have been. Do you think this sort of lived up to expectations or surpassed it?
So for me personally, I will agree. I'll touch base on what you said. Like I don't think it was promoted nearly as much as it should have been. Like we had pound for pound number 1 versus pound for pound number 2. This is literally Michael Jordan versus Kobe Bryant. I'm not an NBA guy, but come on, I get that reference. Like, come on. That was our equivalent to that, like for an NBA fan paying attention. So I feel like there should have been just realistically a ton more marketing for this and promotion for this that wasn't there. I feel like Power Slap got more promotion than this did in recent weeks. But to answer your follow-up question, did it live up to or exceed expectations? My guy, it far exceeded expectations. Like, am I bummed that my parlay didn't hit? You're darn right. But at the same time, like the fight fan in me, I'm so satiated. I'm so happy. I'm so satisfied. Like, I feel like I just had a 5-course meal for MMA.
Oh man, man. Well, I'm full. I am full up after that. I really have. But yeah, beautifully. Well said. Well articulated as well. Because honestly, surpassed expectations. Right, it did. And I guess, in terms of that first fight, and I guess we talked extensively on that as well, but let's go into the co-main real quickly, because Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett, it didn't just, start or end with just a beautiful 5-round bout between these two belt holders. It sort of went into it quite nicely off the back of now an interim champion, Yair Rodriguez, getting that submission win over Josh Emmett. And that happened in round 2 for the duration of round 1 and going into that round 2. Did you see that happening? How do you feel in that fight? Was you as much on like a bit of an emotional seat as well as you was in the final? Or
man, that fight was literally a roller coaster from start to finish. Like the only difference between that fight and a roller coaster is there wasn't that slow moment where it ticks up. And then you get the downfall. It was just like you start at the top and it's like, all right, throw your hands up because it's a ride, guys. Here we go. Like, from start to finish, you have Emmett throwing bombs. Like I always joke and say, like, Emmett is one of those guys that he's like a meat and potatoes style striker, almost in the way that Islam Makhachev is, right?
Yeah.
But the difference between him and Makhachev is he's always got the nuclear option. Whereas Makhachev has to wear you down over time. This man, if he touches you 8 out of 10 times, he's going to turn the lights off.
Yeah.
But you have Yair Rodriguez, who's such an expert. Like the way that he absorbs strikes is almost like that of a Nate or Nick Diaz, where he constantly rolls his face with those strikes.
Yeah.
So he's never 100% absorbing what you're throwing at him, which is, it's honestly a skill, and it's a dying skill with what we saw. Like, I think either you or JK mentioned that Alonzo Menifeld just keeps his head on the center line, doesn't move his head at all. Like that's the opposite of Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He's constantly moving his head off the center line.
Yeah.
And if you catch him on the center line, even then his head is rolling in the right direction, which is amazing to see.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but like I tweeted this during the event, but dude, just watching the early onslaught of Yair Rodriguez for an MMA fan, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
It genuinely feels like what I would feel like to somebody that's like super fascinated with music, right? Like it's them going to a symphony or an orchestra. Like you're watching everything hit and you're like, oh.
Beautiful. Honestly, Odin, I love that entirely. And do you know what? Before this fight started, I was literally thinking to myself as well. I was like, do you know, I'm excited to see Yair Rodriguez fight because he's not just a fighter. He's an artist. You know, it's called mixed martial arts because it's an art and you've got to be an artist to perfect a certain art. And he is an artist. Like he's got this great sort of fine line between, as I was saying on the watch log, wild striking and creative striking. But he sides with creativity. And the fact that he's able to do that so well without being wild and reckless, it takes an artist to, you know, to put off. So, and you're right, as an MMA fan, you can just marvel at this guy going to work. You can just love this guy going to work and you just love all the work he does. And it's great to see him as an interim champ, to be fair. You know, initially I said what's quite exciting is Volkov versus Emmett because stylistically they're quite similar. So I'm just quite interested to see how that matches out. But for a second, just like, no, wait, hold on. You don't necessarily want to see two similar types go up against each other. Give a matchup like Yair Rodriguez against Volkov. That's a different stylistic problem I don't think Volkov's met yet.
Absolutely.
Right?
Like I my fiance will like laugh at this. I constantly either relate things to comic books or mixed martial arts fights or mixed martial arts, anything, right? Yeah. So like to relate this mixed martial arts situation to a comic book fight, like what you're talking about is, you know, Josh Emmett versus Volkov. That's a fun fight, right? Like that's the Juggernaut versus the Hulk, which is like, who the hell doesn't want to see though? It's a great fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I like that.
But in the comic books, like, I can literally recount at least 2 to 3 times where Captain America, the much smaller, more finesseful guy, has bested the Hulk. That's Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski. You've got a guy that's not going to take a back step, and then you've got a guy that's going to shut you off when you refuse to take a back step, possibly. So I just think that's a really fascinating matchup, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
You paint a beautiful picture. You do.
I appreciate it, Sai.
That's so well said. Yeah, 100%. And I can't wait till it happens. And I guess what that Stardust matchup is what's next. I guess Volk did say something about.
How do you see that fight going? Sorry. How do you see that fight going?
Great question. Volk's going to want to take it to the ground without doubt. Yeah, he's going to try to capitalize on getting that headlock in, but Volk's just going to be a nuisance to stay down there. I mean, if seeing what Makhachev was able to do on the ground with Volkanovski and the sort of struggle he had, I don't feel like Rodriguez is going to have much more of a capability or much more of a chance down there than Makhachev would had anyway. So I like Volkanovski to come back and take what's his. I would have loved to see more fights from Yair. You know, it's just been a shame over the years we haven't seen much from him. You know, he's such a great fighter. He's so creative in his striking. His fight against Ortega, he was great for the duration of it, but that arm slip sort of robbed us of an opportunity to really see him being tested in those scenarios on the ground. But yeah, personally, I think it's going to be range-y striking fest from Yair, and Volkanovski just getting frustrated and bull rushing him with strikes, completely fearless of striking. Volkanovski will underestimate this, will be fearless and walk into whatever as long as he gets to grumble in the pocket. I think that's how it would look until he gets a takedown and then sort of like keeps him down from there. What do you reckon?
So you think it's just a grindy fight, and maybe like the first 2 rounds Yair might pull off, but then the next 3 pull all day.
I think so. I think Yair will. I mean, Volk's going to go get a takedown on one of those kicks. He might eat a kick to get him down. I do think Yair's going to be keeping it completely rangy for the duration for as long as he can. But Volk's going to get frustrated enough to a point he's just going to carelessly run in, and he'll eat something. Yeah, but he's just he's going to be throwing his hands back and looking to get that knockout as well himself. So. Yeah, you could use Josh Emmett as a good sort of example to what that looks like and whether that could happen. But I feel like Volkanov's going to be a bit better at doing it. Movement wise, he's great at cutting off the octagon. He can put you up against the cage, Volk.
And he's also going against another 145er this time.
Yeah,
it's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with all fairness, we all know Islam probably weighed like 175, maybe even 180 tonight in there against him. I don't know how much Volk weighed.
No.
But Islam's a big dude when he's not cutting weight.
True.
So like, and like people were saying like, oh, he looked like he struggled with weight cut. Go back and watch all of his other weight cuts, guys. He always looks like that.
Yeah.
His face always looks so drained that it's sucked in that it looks like his eyes are going to pop out of socket.
Yeah.
But then the next day he looks much larger than you. Like there were some frames of that fight where he was dwarfing Volkov.
Yeah.
Or Volkanovski. And like, it just, he's such a large lightweight that I think that really played a big difference in the fight. And I don't think that Alexander was expecting him to be quite as strong as he was.
No.
And you know, there are situations, if you've ever grappled, where even if you're the better grappler and you know, you've drilled the situation 1,000 times, if somebody hits it on you that's stronger than any of those dudes that you drilled it 1,000 times with, hits that situation on you or that position on you, and then you're like, oh, I've gotten out of this, you know, at least 800 times, no big deal. And you try and hit it on and they reverse it. Not only does your reversal not work, not only does your escape not work, but dude, it's freaking deflating.
Yeah.
It makes you feel about this big.
I hear that. I hear that.
And I can imagine that's what was happening to Alexander a few times throughout that fight. And that's why after the fight, he had no problem admitting, like, you know, I mean, I underestimated him. He admitted he underestimated the striking.
Yeah.
He was very strong. Again, I said in your chat in the last video, you guys were running the live for it, like, wait till he eats a hook.
Yeah.
He ate a hook and you saw it, opened him up, and he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, a couple times when he ate those hooks, he literally looked at him like, you got me. That was a good one.
Yeah. Exactly. He got him acknowledging it. And he took a knee on a couple of them. It's so true. It's so true. The power is certainly there. And, you know, but Volkanovski's also a bit of a weight bully himself. Like he's heavy and he cuts down. So he's also really fits at that top possible echelon weight possibility for his own division for featherweight. So
that's exactly what I was saying. Like this time he's going against a 145er.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree with you. I think like at best, Yair probably wins the first 2 rounds. And then after that, it becomes a very, very like maybe I really think that Alexander Volkanovski is a great example of a champion, but he also carries a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and a lot of pride on his back.
Yes.
And you saw it tonight.
Yeah.
There were times where he probably shouldn't have went for the clinch. He probably should have kept it at range. And he's like, you know what? Let me try and get in there. Let me try and clinch with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And it backfired on him. Like, 8 out of 10 times when you clinch with someone named Nurmagomedov or Makhachev, you're not going to win that situation. You're going to end up on your back and you're going to literally have the record scratch. Like, you're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
And that was the situation for him. So,
exactly.
Like, it's going to be the opposite for Yair, right? Like,
it was that round when he sort of looked to his corner. He's like, I'll be up in a minute. I'm fine. And he crawls to the fence.
Laughed out loud.
Somehow, as he crawls to the fence, he's there. He's in a positive position. This is great because he's all he's got to do now is crawl up. But somehow Makhachev gets it back and puts himself between the fence and Volkanovski and keeps him there for the whole rest of the round. I was like, unbelievable.
Typically, like, you can scrape off, you can use the fence to your advantage, you can get up, you can find a way to like kind of like quickly jackknife in and break that. Like I think you kept saying during the live stream, like he needs to pick that lock. He needs to turn in and pick that lock.
Right. Yeah.
There was no chance. Like, he was trying, and he's just like, fight me. Fight me.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
At one point, Islam started literally like laughing. Like, not today. Body triangle on you, and you're not getting out, kid.
That frustrated me a bit because I think one of the judges gave that round a 10-8, and in my thinking, it was like he was just holding him. Yeah, he had 4 minutes there, but he wasn't at all doing any damage to Volkanovski. He was literally just had him clamped down in the lock. And Volkanovski, arguably, probably did more damage, although what damage could do from that sort of like punch from behind your head. But yeah, that did annoy me a little bit. Don't think.
I gotta play devil's advocate.
But 10-8, I don't know. 10-8.
I gotta play devil's advocate. If you and me are fighting, whether we're grappling or we're on the feet, if we're on the feet, the equivalent of what happened during that round, like you said, he wasn't doing damage, but he had the dominant position in grappling.
Yeah.
If we're on the feet, the example of that would be me doing this to you and you not being able to hit me. Like, my hand's on your forehead, you can't hit me, and I'm just like, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it. I'm not damaging you, but I won that round, bro. Like, I bullied you just a little bit.
Okay, I hear that. Your control. That's an interesting way of putting it. That's an interesting way of putting it because you're
Like,
holding me at bay.
if I completely negate anything that you can do offensively,
Yeah,
bro, I beat you.
yeah, but I mean, he was hitting though.
I wouldn't give it a
was
10-8.
touching him.
I wouldn't give it a 10-8. I would give it a 10-9.
Yeah, well, thank you. Exactly. I would argue maybe win it, but 10-8, I don't think I'll do. But at the same time, yeah, it wouldn't worry at 10-8. And although Volkanovski was landing punches, they weren't really that hard. So maybe you might have your hand on my head. I'm still hitting you a bit, but you're not absorbing or not getting hurt by it too much.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're grazing me on the chest or something. You're hitting my shoulders. Like, especially like if every time you're hitting my shoulder, I'm giggling. The judges are watching that. They're like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's bullying this poor kid."
Yeah, you see that? Okay, no, I do hear. But yeah, I completely agree. 10-8, I think that was just a bit.
I agree. I wouldn't give it a 10-8. I wouldn't give it a 10-8.
No,
like I would give it a 10-9.
Yeah,
I might even give it like a 9-9 if there was no damage back and forth. But the fact that he had the body triangle on him for I think 4 minutes 11 seconds. Don't quote me on that, but it was a little bit over 4 minutes for sure that he had that body lock on him. And
this is it. Yeah.
Like that's for a 5-minute round. That's a lot of control.
It is. It really is. And yeah, I mean, you hear the whole crowd going completely wild. And look, Volk was ready. He was ready. He's ready to get back up.
Volk, you gotta love Volk's personality and attitude throughout that whole fight. Like even when he's eating shots, he's like, "Oh, good one." And then like when he's landing shots or when he's getting out grappled, he's like, "Come on, let's fight. Let me up. Let's fight."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it could just be. I mean, I hope there's a whole lot of promotion towards Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski because just seeing that matchup happen. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolutely amazing. A real creative striker, and then someone with the British attitude of Volkanovski as well. I think that's going to be really cool. So yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, that fight.
Got about time for one more comment on a fight on the card. So I mean, out of the other three that preceded that came before this one, what was your best sort of performance, or which one did you want to sort of pick and really put some comments on? Because there was a draw at the front end, of course, with Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menifield. Then you had that first round knockout from Justin Tuffer and Parker Porter. Then, of course, you had that first round submission from Jack Della Maddalena versus Randy Brown. So
there was a lot. There was a lot.
A lot happened. I'm not asking
a lot happened in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
The first fight was incredible. I think it definitely deserves not fight of the night, just because that main event was fight of the night. Easy money. It's hard to top that.
Yeah. Some good back and forth though. That's what you like.
It was great back and forth. Fantastic fight. Super intense. I again held my breath for like 5 minutes during that fight. The Justin Taffa fight was like the equivalent of a heavyweight Conor McGregor knockout.
Yeah.
It literally almost mirrored Conor McGregor's knockout of Jose Aldo. You can look at those two things mirrored together. It's disgustingly close. But the fight that I would want to talk about, if we're only going to talk about one more, it's got to be Rude Boy Randy Brown against the future of the division, Jack Della Maddalena.
The future.
Not only is he the future of the division, but he's got one of the funnest names to say.
I mean,
like Jack Della Maddalena is just such a fun name to say.
It's a tongue twister if you say it 5 times fast, but otherwise it does kind of bounce nice, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Bounce nice.
Well, I'm interested to hear like what were your thoughts going into that fight? Did you think that it was going to play out the way it did?
I did too. Personally, yeah. I thought Jack Della Maddalena has the ability to make people who have the reach advantage look like they don't have the reach advantage, and that's just a tribute to his footwork and great boxing ability. Like I expected Randy Brown to be very long range with his weapons. And just firing down the pipe. Leg kicks, of course, will be coming out. But for Jack Della Maddalena, I just expected, slipping, moving out, and then sort of closing the range and countering. I thought he'd have the speed and the ability to do that. What we really saw was him able to use that footwork to get Randy Brown's back against the fence. Personally, Randy Brown did a great job. He had a fantastic round, bar 2 seconds. And that's all it took for Jack Della Maddalena to sort of to get his work done. But, I think if Randy Brown wants to do anything different is in that moment when his back was against the fence, it's just get his back on the fence a little bit quicker. And I'm talking about 2 seconds and he would have been scotch-free. He sat there for 2 seconds too long.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with somebody like Jack Della Maddalena that has such crisp boxing entries the way that he does, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And when he hits you, like it's crazy because, like you said, like, he was fighting somebody tonight that had a reach advantage on him.
Yeah.
But if you watch that fight and if you tuned in just a second after the tail of the tape, you would never realize that.
No.
You'd be like, oh, this dude's taller than him, but there's no way.
Yeah.
Like that's just like the way that he utilizes the footwork and the reach is just insane. It's second to none.
So good.
And
this is why you say future of the division, right? This is why you
absolutely
say so.
Like his boxing alone, like he is to boxers in mixed martial arts what Hoist Gracie was to Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists in mixed martial arts when he first started, right? Like he comes in, and even though people have heard of BJJ at that time, but like not so much. They're just like, oh, cool. So he's a grappler. No big deal. I'll knock him out. This guy, they're like, oh, he's a boxer. No big deal. We've seen boxers in MMA. Yeah. But then this guy starts peppering you up with the body shots, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Like you eat one, and then you're like, you see these fighters that, again, like Rude Boy has more experience than him. Like, I think like what, twice as much experience as him in professional mixed martial arts fights, I think.
Yeah.
And when he ate those shots, you saw him like he was doing everything right up until he wasn't. But 1 to 2 seconds of mistakes against somebody like Jack is all it takes.
Yeah.
And then you literally face plant on the floor. Like that first fall was disgusting.
It really was. It really was. Like
I thought it was over at that point. I was like, "Oh, you can stop it now."
Yeah. It was a moment of I think you sort of see Jack Della Maddalena grab the hand of Rude Boy, and it's almost like, "Where do you think you're going?" That's another one. And then
he's like, "I'm not done."
Yeah. And then
you talk that shit. Like, I'm gonna knock you out hard.
Yeah. Like, wait. It's my turn now. Where you going? You know, and his face hit the canvas hard. It really did. And in terms of experience, yeah, you're right. 16 wins, 5 losses. That's what it looks like for Randy Brown. But of course, with Jack Della Maddalena, he's on an incredible streak at the moment. But 14 and 2. But yeah, the guy's coming off some really successful wins, and I think that one.
And he hasn't lost in a very long time either. I think he hasn't lost since.
Oh, well, you're going all the way back to 2016 until his last loss. Yeah.
That's a lifetime in fight experience.
Yeah. That was exactly right. That's all the way back in Eternal MMA. But yeah, and I think that's his second submission on record. To be fair, he hadn't. I mean, everyone.
That's what shocked me.
Yeah, everyone would have done that fight by like maybe he would have done it with his hands. I mean, he's got such great boxing accolades. But yeah, he actually got that submission done. Wild, huh?
Yeah, I thought if he was going to get it done, it was going to be via knockouts. I honestly thought if he takes out somebody like Randy Brown, it's going to end up being by body shots, because Randy Brown's a very, very tough and game opponent. And like if you've ever been in a fight or if you've ever sparred, there's something that you realize very quickly. And it's, you know what? You can fake it. You can poker face it up whenever somebody peppers you up with shots to the head, especially if you've got really good willpower and you've been in that situation before. I don't care how tough you are. If somebody catches you with a really good body shot, your body literally just tells your brain like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, it shuts you down. Yeah.
Take a knee, son. Like we saw it in the Josh Emmett and Yair Rodriguez fight. Like every time he'd eat that quick body kick, just whipping body kick to the low ribs. Yeah. Emmett, as tough as he is, hands up here would go, ugh.
Yeah.
No, like you could see him cringe.
Yeah.
Every time he'd eat that low rib shot.
Man.
And like, again, I don't care how tough you are. That's the situation. If somebody catches you clean with a body shot, it's different. It's different, man.
And that's why it's such a beautiful strategy to go low and go high. Because once you bruise the body, your body says, no, I don't want it anymore. It's almost a natural reaction. The next kick's coming. Your body is going to, whether you want to do it or not, your body is going to try and cover where it hurts most. And that's when you're coming up top and you're getting some dangerous blows. So, yeah, it's wild. You know, it's almost like a second brain in your body saying, bro,
we're like, I know you want to keep going, but we're done.
Yeah,
we're done here.
Exactly. Nope. Body shut down. Yeah, it's a part, man. It's different. It's so different. But man, honestly, super exciting. And I loved every minute of that card, I have to say. Did you have a particular fight of the night and performance of the night? And also finish of the night? Let's go sub or knockout.
Ooh.
Let's start with fight of the night. What'd you say?
Fight of the night's got to be main event. It's got to be Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Yeah. It far over exceeded expectations.
Yes.
I thought that at most that fight was going to go 3 rounds and that Islam would get it by submission, or that Volk would get it by knockout early, like a crazy flash knockout.
Yeah.
The fact that we got 25 minutes of not only like 25 minutes of fighting, but 25 minutes of brilliant fighting, like great grappling exchanges.
Yeah.
Great scrambles. And not only that, but a 25-minute opportunity for Islam Makhachev to say, oh yeah, this guy that you said was leaps and bounds ahead of me in the striking department, I'm going to make him take a knee a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that for me was absolutely incredible to watch.
Yes.
So that's fight of the night. What was your fight of the night?
No, I'd agree with you 100%. I'd agree with you 100% on that main card, because that main event, because it was the full 5 rounds as well of just joy, but I say that just joy, but I was in all sorts of emotions over here. And I think I give it, that's one of the reasons why I had to give it 5-0. I was literally sitting there watching it, just thinking like, if you watch a film, right, something that grips you, something that you think is a really good film, is something that takes you through all of those different pockets of emotion. And that fight in the 5 minutes had me all over the place, and I was getting all of the feels, and I was like, wow, this is exciting. Oh no, and yes, for me, that's why it brought it out of me. So that's why I guess it's my fight tonight, personally.
Absolutely. When you can go through every range of emotions you think you possibly have during a 25-minute fight, it was probably a pretty darn good fight.
Yeah, I know. And not even embedded to it as well. At the end of it, it left me in a sort of state of unknowing. I was like, what's going to happen? Like, it could go either way. And the suspense also, it even had that suspense at the end of it. It's like, just tell me and put me out of my misery. He's done it.
Yeah, just tell me who won the fight, please. Just let me take a breath. Let me breathe, please.
Exactly.
Finally.
After Bruce said, and I was like, just say. Still,
that was that not the longest you've ever heard in your entire life?
Yeah.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly. Just insert.
Are we gonna wait till next Saturday for this?
Tune in next time to find out the result of the winners.
Dude, that's what it felt like.
That literally could have been a cliffhanger at the end of those sort of series of Game of Thrones. Like, wow, man, yeah, all the feels. Okay,
all the feels.
So, performance of the night.
Okay, greatest performance of the night. Oh man, that's tough. I gotta say Jack Della Maddalena, just because of the fact. Or you know what? No, I'm changing it last minute. We're gonna go Yair Rodriguez.
Okay.
Yair Rodriguez performance of the night, because he went against an absolute juggernaut of a man who had one punch knockout power. He ate the big shots, negated them with movement, and broke apart the body and legs early on. He did exactly what he needed to do to win that exact fight. Yeah. For me, that's performance of the night.
That's good. Yeah, you're right. You're just looking at what they've done. You're looking at the strategy they had going in, right?
Yeah, like every aspect of it. Like, what was your performance of the night?
I probably would have said the same. I would have started with JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, largely because I feel like he had the right strategy going into it, and I just think the way it was advantage-wise, height and reach, and the sniping power of Rude Boy Brown. The fact of the matter is, it should in theory have looked good for him, more so than it did in terms of like the round, but in the ability to utilize his skill set and his boxing and his footwork to do that. It takes skill, it takes performance to do that to someone with a reach advantage on you, and some of the skill is Randy Brown, but I kind of expected it, which is the only reason why I wouldn't give it to me the performance of the night, because I think I was more on the ledge between Yair and Josh Emmett, but with Randy Brown and JDM, for me, it was a case of like, oh, I know what he's going to do. I know what he's capable of doing, and I can see that's happening. And so for me, it sort of fit it right into what I expected. But with this one, I wasn't too sure. So that's why I'll give that one my performance of the night. Because again, you said it perfectly. He's going against someone with knockout power. And he did a perfect, beautiful job, of course, keeping things rangy, and then, of course, tying things up when it did hit the ground. So yeah, Rodriguez gets that for me. Performance of the night, agreed.
Yeah, I think he earned it.
Yeah. But when it comes to finish of the night.
Finish of the night, I think, might be the easiest one for me. It's gotta be that finish over Paca Porta from Justin Taffa, man. Like, a lot of people were discrediting Justin Taffa, myself included. Tien, if you're watching live right now, you can say I told you so. I'll do another shot with you after the show wraps up. So we do the kind of okay parlay again. When we were doing it, literally, we thought mine was the biggest lock of the night. The second biggest lock of the night was obviously Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett under 4.5. Like, that's a lock. Nobody thought that fight was going to go all 5 rounds. And This guy comes out, literally was the first out of the gates. He's all, Justin Taffa, money line. He's got this. And I'm like, bro, do you know who Parker Porter is? Like, he's pretty solid. Like, he beats guys that he's not really supposed to beat too. Like, he's pretty darn good.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Parker Porter does that. He just beats the guys he's not supposed to beat. I think he matched up against. Didn't he match up against Chase? Chase Sherman.
Yeah, Chase Sherman.
I was like, Chase Sherman, the bigger, taller guy. Yeah.
I literally was like, oh, dude, put the bank on Chase Sherman. He's gonna kill this.
Yeah. And then
Parker Porter's like, not today.
Right. Honestly, that was pretty wild. That was pretty wild.
And then Justin Taffa literally on a back step. He starts the combo that puts him away. And for a heavyweight, and not only for a heavyweight, but like every once in a blue moon, you know, the MMA gods bless us with a heavyweight that looks like a middleweight. You know who I'm talking about, right? Like I'm talking about your Tom Aspinalls, right?
Yeah.
Like, there aren't many of them. Maybe John Jones ends up looking that way. Cyril Gane looks that way.
Yeah.
Again, like out of a roster of maybe like 80 to 100 people that we've seen in heavyweight at the very least, I can name 2 to 3 of them that look like that.
Yeah.
Most of them look like Parker Porter.
Yep.
And those guys are not super athletic. But then you see these guys come out there, and then more so than that, like you see the guy across from him, Justin Taffa, does not look super duper athletic at all.
No,
he looks like a homie from like maybe Hawaii or, you know, like just like one of these beautiful places that probably goes to the gym once a month. Yeah. And he can still kill you. Yeah. And on the back step, he looked so freaking graceful. Yeah. With that knockout, he was just like, it literally looked like just a young Wish.com Mark Hunt. It was beautiful. Like, I'll probably watch it on repeat.
Yeah, I think I have to. I think I have to. It happened so quickly. I did not give it my full attention, to be honest with you. I was one up there, one eye down here, and it happened. I was like, yeah. I guess we don't have to get into what we're going to expect from this fight because it's already over. Exactly.
It's all over.
It's all over. And I was shocked it happened so quickly. And I guess, you're right. For me, I understand Taffa is a bit of a one-round fighter. But for Parker Porter, he's actually impressed me with his cardio in previous fights, to be fair. So, I kind of liked him to pick up in the later rounds. But for me, he just had to get out of that first round in order to see it. And you know, chances of getting out the first round of Taffa are clearly quite slim, especially with the power.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah. There it is. Right, that's the one. Oh man, Odin, it's been an absolute pleasure talking over this whole entire card with you, and also just sharing the reactions that we had as well. Like it must have been wild. I mean, what was your watch along experience? You was watching with your fiance. Was it at home?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We usually end up doing it with a couple of friends. This time, like we had just gotten back from a trip, so we were doing it at home. And dude, we were like trying not to like make the neighbors be annoyed with us because we were screaming during this.
I know, it's hard to contain it. But it's great you had a little community for it as well, and a little game. It was like a shot every time someone gets knocked out, or every time you get a pick right. Or
so
wrong.
Typically, our house rule is we bet shots on every fight on the main card. So as they're walking out, we literally make everybody in the house pick a person. Your guy loses or your girl loses, you do a shot.
Okay, like that. Put 2 shots on him or 1 shot over there. And okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Love it. That's cool. It's a cool game. We had to join you as well on the channel.
Game, you know?
It is fun. I mean, we joined you for one as well, and it was decent.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was cool. I fully enjoyed that. But honestly, man, it's been great having you on board the channel again, and look forward to maybe doing this again and sharing some more awesome fights with you in the future. It's great just to have a community to watch along with and not have to watch these things on our own. But it's absolutely brilliant, man. You're going to be tuning in tomorrow. I think we've got JK who's going to do the aftermath show. So just going to do a real quick one. It's going to be early morning our time. So maybe we'll have to catch up on recording a bit after.
Yeah. If it's when I'm sleeping my time, then I'll definitely tune into the replay.
Yeah.
You can definitely count me in.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, he's just going to do a bit of a sort of recap in terms of everything that happened and what to expect in the divisions, because there's going to be some changes, and I think we're going to see some exciting things. I mean, one of the questions we had as we wrapped up was what's going to be more entertaining fights, you know, Makhachev winning
absolutely.
or Volkanovski winning. But either way, you know, there's still a lot of unfinished business for this division against Makhachev. He's only just taken a belt and he hasn't seen anyone in this division yet.
Oh, I know you guys said that Volk winning would be the more like exciting outcome. I disagree. I think Islam winning is the more exciting outcome, just because again, like you said, I don't think he's had a chance to really prove himself in lightweight. And I've been the guy that's been saying for the last 7 years that Islam's the future of lightweight.
Yeah.
He's possibly better than Khabib from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Firsthand and on TV, obviously. And I'd love to see him prove himself against, the Dustin Poiriers and, the Beneil Dariush's of the world. I think that those would be both really great fights for him. Yeah. And I think those are going to be two fights where, again, just like this one with Alexander Volkanovski, the fans win. Yeah. I think those are bangers.
Yeah. But you also forgot to mention, of course, Beneil Dariush too.
No, that's what I said. I said Beneil Dariush or Dustin Poirier.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I was going to say Dustin Poirier.
Big Beneil fan. Yeah, no, I can't leave that guy out.
It's like, I'm still waiting. I'm still gunning to see that one come back. And but yeah, that's going to be super exciting, man. I can't wait for that one to happen.
Dude, Beneil Dariush, before we take off, Beneil Dariush versus Charles Oliveira. Who you got?
It's actually a really hard one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll go Beneil Dariush because I trust that he's gonna see Makhachev. So I'm gonna go Beneil on that one. Yeah, but I didn't want to see that matchup happen because I like them both, and I didn't want to see that happen. But this is happening. So, but
it happens, man. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. It's one of those tough ones. That, don't make me pick against him. Don't make me pick against him. And I trust that Makhachev and Beneil will be a narrative to happen. Like I trust that. So we're going with Beneil. It'll
be a fun one, man.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun one.
It will be. And look, we might be back here again discussing it, I'm sure.
Looking forward to it, Sai.
Me too. Always. Odin, an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for jumping on the channel. You guys have been great. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Head over to Odin's channel also, MMA Anomaly. Do you want to have a quick floor for 30 seconds there, Odin? What's any shout outs?
You guys make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe on my videos. And again, it's at MMA Anomaly on YouTube and all other platforms. I'll be doing a recap video tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys want to jump in, say what's up in the chat. Would love to see you there.
Nice. Awesome. I'd love to check it out. All right. Cheers, MMA Anomaly. Thanks, Odin. Much appreciated. All the best. And you guys stay safe, keep it sexy, and see you next time.